my brothers and sisters, there's two things I'm a specialist in. And this is the Roadrunner straight out of Vegas. So there's two things I'm a specialist in. And that's gambling and that's selling sex capsules. I had to become a specialist in politics. Besides that, I had to become very knowledgeable in politics. And what forced me to do that was being in the sex capsule business. Because without being in the sex capsule business, I wouldn't even bother maybe even voting or getting involved in politics and keeping an eye on Trump from 2015 all the way up to 2026, which it currently is right now, 2026. And I love Trump. I love everything he's doing. I love the agenda he's going after. I love how he's protecting the farmers and the ranchers, which Biden or Obama never had their back. They were going to force him to sell the land. That's all the Democratic strategy is. It's just to force the farmers and the ranchers out of business, just like their bitch from hell, AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, the true bitch from hell. She's full of shit. She knows nothing about life. She knows nothing. She has no logic whatsoever. She could, as far as I'm concerned, she wouldn't be in politics if she hadn't been a waitress or a bartender in Manhattan. Because nobody would have listened to her if she was a bartender anywhere else other than that socialist city called New York City. So they put up with her bullshit and listened to her bullshit, and I guess she gained a lot of confidence doing that, and that's what inspired her to run for a congresswoman. And I would like to go back and run against her, but I want to stay out of New York until Mandani is out of office. Mandani. Another piece of shit socialist that knows nothing about life. As far as I'm concerned, they can, Ocasio-Cortez, the bitch from hell, and Mandani can walk through Central Park holding each other's hands and talk about their new generated agenda that they want to spring on and force onto the American people. But the American people aren't biting that. They're not biting on their bullshit. And fart well, swallow well when he gets up there and speaks in front of the cameras anytime they put him on the news. He's full of shit, knows nothing about life. And what woman would want to be around that asshole? I mean, he's like, he's not very smart about life or about women or anything else. He's just another full of shit Democratic activist. So up your ass, fart well. Every time you speak, it's a giant fart. Bernie Sanders, another bullshit activist that wants to spring socialism onto America. Well, do you think he'd give up his wealth? You think he's going to give up his $1 billion in wealth that he's probably worth right now, his net worth? Recently, he was worth $800 million, so $800 million is only $200 million away from being a billionaire. Just total bullshit. They want to live like prima donnas, and then they want to spring the bullshit onto the American public. And we're not biting their bullshit. We're not buying it. So kiss my ass, every one of you. And for any weak-minded, rated R Republican that wants to impeach Kristi Noem, kiss my ass and get out of office. Find a new occupation. We don't want you. We don't want rated R Republicans that don't have Trump's back or Kristi Noem's back. They're trying to enforce the laws that the American people voted for, and that's exactly what they're doing. So, if an ICE officer which is a human being, feels like they have to shoot somebody, well, who created all that bullshit and all that havoc? That was created by Jacob Frey and Tampon Tim Walz from Minnesota, the mayor and governor of Minnesota, the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, and the governor of Minnesota that won't even run again because he'll be exposed for all the delinquency and the fraud that was created by him because he allowed it to happen. That's why he's the governor. He's supposed to be in charge of the state. He's supposed to adhere to the state's needs and the people's needs. He's not sitting there in the background. He's supposed to be in the back seat and allow all the bullshit to occur that occurred. So they're just trying to sway away from the agenda toward new agenda. They're the past agenda of them robbing the American public and the taxpayers out of all their money, which is totaling up to more than 9 billion. It's going up to 19 billion. And the state of California is even going to be worse. The fraud's even going to be worse in California. Here's an asshole that doesn't even know how to fund a train project, and they made the train project cost them $19 billion, $20 billion for the train project, and they have to shorten the traveling space of the train, so that they're only building the tracks so far. It's all total horseshit. It's all bullshit. Democrats cannot manage anybody else's money, including their own. That's why they're Democrats, because they think it's like an apple tree. We're supposed to be just putting more and more money on the apple tree, and they're going to take and pluck all the apples off the apple tree, and the apple's going to regrow and regrow and regrow. That's not how it works. It takes a while to rebuild the apple tree because all the money is coming from the taxpayers. So what's up with that? What's up with their brain power is totally diminished. It was diminished right from the start. That's why they all have to lie, and that's why they continue to lie. And they're babies as far as not getting their own way. They're totally spoiled brats. When they don't get their own way, they use the American people as their guinea pigs to create their havoc, and that's exactly what's going on in Minneapolis. They're creating havoc, and they're allowing all this havoc to occur, and they're not giving up the criminal illegals that are in jail, and they're not giving them up to ICE. They're letting them out on the streets, and they refuse to give them up, and that's exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to cooperate with ICE. They cooperate with ICE and make their job easier. It makes it safer for the American public and the people in Minneapolis. There's a lot of people that are tired of this in Minneapolis and Minnesota. They're all throughout the state. There's many voters that are very tired of all the agenda that Waltz and Jacob Frey, the Tampon Tim and Jacob Frey are trying to incorporate. They're trying to spring the American people and endanger their lives by creating havoc. And they're not the ones out on the street fighting. They're not the ones out on the street fighting nights. They're not the one that was stupid enough to carry a gun and get shot. Why would you carry a gun if you weren't planning on using it? If you carry a gun for your protection, then when you're being arrested or whatever, you're supposed to immediately acknowledge that you have a gun. When they're searching you, you're supposed to immediately acknowledge that. So he was resisting arrest. I know what happened to me when I resisted arrest and I smelled the rocks of crack in Atlantic City. They took my head out of the head first and took it down to the pavement and beat my head in the pavement and said, "Cough that shit up." Of course, I was dealing with dirty cops, but I'd already swallowed that shit, so they had to give me a resisting arrest instead. And sitting in jail was not that bad because, when I sat in jail, I learned a lot. So my family can kiss my ass for not bailing me out. It's my fault that I was thrown in jail, but this also gives me a reason to not want to have anything to do with my older brothers and even my sons, as far as not wanting to call my lawyers when I was thrown in jail in Baton Rouge, especially my youngest son. Now, my oldest son, he's been an ass sitter his whole life, but he's smart, and he's very good on a computer. So I hang out with my oldest son, and I'm trying to reconstruct any possible relationship we can have in the future because I've got a beautiful grandson. So I actually hung out with him last week. I took him out to lunch last week, and we got some cheesesteaks and ate the best fries on earth. And one of my favorite hangouts to go to, and the food's fantastic. And that's called Euro Express off Durango in North Las Vegas, not too far away from my son and his wife live, and my grandson. So then we went out and went to an amusement park and raced those little gold buggy cars or whatever, and enjoyed a few rides, and I had a great time. But I basically I'm having a good time with my oldest son. My youngest son can kiss my ass. He lives on a high mountaintop, and he lives on the same block as his half brother, who has the same mother but a different father. So they hang out together, and we enjoy each other's company, and that's all good. But my youngest says, I'm not going to get in the middle of anything. Well, I had a problem with his half brother, and And I called him out, and I told him that you're just as fucked up as your father was. His father, was a very fucked up individual. He was a very prominent attorney. He was right here in Las Vegas. He was on the O.J. Simpson case, on the memorabilia case, and he got kicked off the case because he was hooked on prescription pills. So he's going downhill. So they kicked him off the case, off the O.J. Simpson case, when he was found guilty of the memorabilia, all the memorabilia that he confiscated, that he stole. And that's what he went to trial for. So he was represented by somebody else. Well, anyway, this hater, Rob Lucarini, who hated my guts right from the start. I never badmouthed him when he was acting as a father, or as a father to my sons. I never tried to make him hate me. I just wanted him to like me. I didn't want him to hate me. I mean, he's raising my sons, and he's around my sons. So he mentally abused my sons. He was like a piece of shit. And he always took sides for his my son's half-brother, Josh Lucarini. And he's another piece of shit, backstabbing son of a bitch. So I don't mind telling the truth about him also. I enjoy it. I enjoy calling people out. Because politics don't bring people together. Even though I'm the greatest Trump supporter of any member of my family, including my sons or anyone around them, I'm the greatest Trump supporter of all. There's no way that brought us together. That's not a strong enough ingredient to bring us together, because they are so much, they're so strong on their path about being haters toward me. They suffer the David Weber syndrome. Everybody in the poker room suffers the David Weber syndrome in Las Vegas, because I'm very outspoken. I speak my mind, and I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm very talented at what I do. I'm an extremely good poker player. In fact, I went to L.A. like 2 weeks ago. Pre-trial prevention allowed me to take a week vacation to go play poker, and I played poker for 6 days, spent 1 day traveling back and forth, and spent 6 days playing poker. Made $4,500. Not bad. I won every day. I won as little as $200 in 1 day and in one session, and that's all that I won for the day. And I won as much as $1,800 in 1 day in one session. After I win in a session, very rarely I play another session. I'll take my wins and go relax, go watch the news, or hang out with my dog and eat some good food, or travel to the beach, or whatever it may be when I go to California, because that's what I love about California, is the ocean. I love the environment. As far as like the environment is just so enjoyable, because it's just like a nice, cool environment. It doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. It rains occasionally, unlike Washington or Portland. It rains much more in Seattle than Portland, so I'll take Portland over Seattle as far as the climate goes. But as far as the climate goes in California, it's fantastic, and I love it. And there's tremendous opportunity for me in California, so I don't care what everybody says about I have my own opinion. I don't care what everybody says about how expensive it is to live in California and how expensive it is to buy a home, and it's more expensive to buy gas. Well, actually, I only pay like $3.25 for gas, because I know 3 or 4 of the cheapest prices, the lowest prices on gasoline throughout L.A., and that's where I go put the gasoline into my car. I don't waste my money. I'm not giving it to these Democratic activists, and so they can tax the hell out of my money. And when I buy gasoline, that's exactly what they do in California. They charge more taxes on everything when it comes to selling gasoline. The gas stations are forced to charge a higher price because there's so much tax. There's so much in taxes taken out of a gallon of gas from the robber baron Gavin Newsom, Uncle Newley, in my book, which I call him. I call him Uncle Newley. Well, Gavin Newsom's full of shit. He's a piece of shit, weak-minded politician. Absolutely knows nothing about what he's doing. If he knew anything and had any common sense, he would have had the fire hydrants filled up with water and the reservoirs filled up with water instead of pumping all the water out to the oceans. But he's not one step ahead of the game. He's always one step behind the game, and that's why he always has problems, and that's why he's very wasteful with money. And talking about Palisades, Palisades, they're not allowing them to rebuild their houses because of regulations. After a year of the fires, they're still not able to rebuild their homes. It's total bullshit. But what can you expect from a Democrat that knows nothing about how to take care of business? Gavin Newsom he tries to be a shaker. Anything that Trump tries to accomplish, just like any other Democratic activist, he tries to jump in the middle of it and knock Trump for being a champion in his game, and he is a champion in his game. He represents the American public more than any president in the United States ever has. Trump is the hardest working president. He has more energy than any president. First book out listed is Beehive Golden Pond in East Windover, Utah. Windover is actually a border town, so it's in 2 states, this small city of 6,000 people, about 90% Spanish people. What a beautiful town this is. That's Beehive Golden Pond on 479 Windover Boulevard in Windover, Utah. Buy a book there and get the free hat along with any book purchase.
To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth.
And he actually makes people uncomfortable because they wonder if he ever sleeps. I mean, they're embarrassed. Like Marco Rubio was embarrassed on the airplane, wrapped himself up in blankets because he was embarrassed about sleeping. He didn't want Trump to know he was getting his sleep on the plane. And it's laughable because Trump has so much energy. It's totally incredible, the energy and the stamina he has. But I've got a lot of stamina, but not like Trump. I need my 7 or 8 hours of sleep every day, and I get it. And I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I've been nocturnal my entire life. And that's the way I've been, and that's the way I'll be forever. I mean, if I don't wake up early enough, that means I miss the gym. If I wake up early enough, then I go to the gym and work out. And I go to work out anytime I feel like it. But I just try to eat good food every day and watch the news every day and keep my brain working and making it work effectively and always thinking about new and better thoughts. So that's how I operate. And as far as playing poker, I'm one of the best poker players in the world. I'm not like the best poker player in the world, but you can put me in the top 1,000 throughout the world. I am one of the 1,000 best poker players in the world. And if I'm talking about ring games, I'm not talking about tournaments. I don't play in tournaments enough. In fact, I've lost money playing tournaments recently because tournaments are very, very hard to win, and it takes a good bankroll to overcome tournament entry fees. And I don't have anybody sponsoring me like a lot of poker players have. I don't like anybody having to share my wins and my losses. I'm a true entrepreneur. I like to pay the expenses and receive the profit 100% because I'm a believer in myself. So I pretty much play ring games, and that's what I enjoy playing. Now, they've tried to eliminate me having the opportunity to play in Las Vegas, but I can guarantee you California is way better poker action than Las Vegas ever thought of being because there's not as many champion poker players in such a small area. L.A. is a large area. I can play in Southern California all the way up to Northern California. And the poker players, the champions, are spread out, so it's not congregated with champions. And the greatest thing about these sick poker players that come over from Europe that play so good, play the game so exceptionally, is that they're all hooked on sports, and they love betting sports. They don't manage their money well. I never managed my money well as a gambler. I had to get in the sex capsule business to learn how to manage my money and run a business. Until you run a business, you really don't learn how to manage your business or money because managing money is part of your business. Making your business grow takes great money management. You have to keep reinvesting in your business, and a lot of people are too cheap to do that. They'll make the profits, and they'll take the profits and maybe gamble them away, especially if they run a business in Las Vegas. And thus their business doesn't grow, and it goes stagnant. Well, I always reinvested in my business, and I believed 100% in what I was doing, and I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew I was on God's path. Each year that went by, I knew that I was on a very strong path, and that path became stronger and stronger. So I believe in what I'm doing now, and I believed in what I was doing in the past. And the government needs to open their ears and learn, because I happen to be the most knowledgeable person about sex capsules, about Viagra and Cialis, which has sildenafil and tadalafil in it. So anything that has sildenafil and tadalafil in it, I'm an expert on. And I can tell you this, the greatest way to take sildenafil and tadalafil is in the natural testosterone animal bone capsule. There's a time-release capsule that gives your body natural testosterone. Time-release, so it dissipates more slowly in your bloodstream and lasts longer, and it has a longer-lasting effect. And that's why sex capsules are the healthiest way to take sildenafil and tadalafil. Although the government wants to sit on their ass and sit in the back seat and not educate the American public, because there's no money in it. The money is in getting the money from the donations from the lobbyists. So thus they have the law in concrete that so it's required by prescription to purchase sildenafil and tadalafil. You're supposed to have a prescription, require a prescription. But it's not enforced in America, and that's why sex capsules sell so freely throughout the shelves in America, just like milk sells. And there's many convenience stores and grocery stores. Sex capsules don't sell in grocery stores, but milk doesn't sell in sex shops and doesn't sell in smoke shops. And very few liquor stores. It's like one carton of milk in a liquor store. They don't have like a great variety of milk in liquor stores or convenience stores like they do in convenience stores. And convenience stores don't have a greater variety of milk than sex capsules. They might have like 20 different brands of sex capsules in a convenience store in America, in a gas station or convenience store or liquor store especially. They have a lot of varieties of sex capsules in blister pack form in liquor stores. So they're readily accessible to the American public, and this is a good thing that the government doesn't infringe on that and allows them to be sold, because the government already knows how healthy they are. So they just put them in the back seat and don't talk about it, and just hope that Viagra and Cialis continue to make their revenue so they can keep donating the money to the politicians, which have this law embedded in the cement in the D.C. swamp. And the law will never be changed. Well, that's why I'm running my podcast, because I'm exposing everybody, not just about sex capsules. I'm exposing everybody about certain things in the gambling business also, and I'm exposing the politicians for how greedy they are and how they stab the American public in the back and make the public think that they're truly representing them, while they're enriching their own pockets and their own wealth. And there's not too many broke politicians. I don't know of any, but there's a lot of broke lawyers. And that's why certain lawyers steal, is because they need to make the money. They need the revenue. So they've lowered their standards and they steal their money from their clients. And that's what happened to Matt Johnson at Johnson & Goobler. And that's what happened to Mike Stamp at Mike Stamp Law. They both stole my $150,000 retainer that I'm going to get back. And if I don't get it back, I'm going to expose them anyway, because I told them flat off, give me my money back or I'm going to expose you on my podcast. That's what I'm going to do. I tell the truth on my podcast. And if you want to make yourself and continue to be my enemy, then I'm going to prove that you are my enemy on my podcast by trying to steal my money. And that's exactly what they did. Along with their whore, Russ Goobler, who handled my wife's visa, charged me $10,000 for the first stage when it costs only about $3,000 or $4,000 for the entire process, which I do have a new visa attorney, and I know this now. So Russ Goobler robbed me out of a lot of money. Some pocket change. It's a lot of money to me. $10,000 is a lot of money to me. And then refusing to do anything when I fired his boss and turned his boss into the bar association. So there you go. So that's how Russ acts. He's like another whore in the wind. So Russ Goobler, you can definitely kiss my ass also. You're not a great Mormon to me. You're a great Mormon to yourself. And you can go ahead and ride down or walk down that path and continue to make the public think that you're such a great Mormon and you're such a true believer in God. Well, you don't steal from God, because you're stealing from God behind God's back. When you steal from another human being, you're actually stealing from God and thinking his back is turned. But God looks very vividly at either side, any dimension, any corner of the world. He knows exactly what's going on. He has that energy. Our Creator has that energy and that ability to to see everything that happens. So you can't pump fake God. It's impossible. And Congressman Omar from Minnesota, I mean, she's another racist that wants to knock down white people and say, oh, like we're the evil race. And evil people are in every race. Every race. There's evil white people, evil black people, evil Spanish people, evil Asian people. Evil people are embedded in every single race throughout the world and in every country throughout the world. And there's many evil leaders throughout the world, and these evil leaders need to be wiped out, especially the Ayatollah Khomeini. He needs to, just like I said, be buried in the bottom of the Red Sea. I mean, I want him exterminated, and his family members that are around him that have his beliefs exterminated. I want them wiped off the face of the earth because they represent themselves. And I hope that Trump goes in and saves these Iranian people because they're killing too many of them. And they're actually speaking out because they think Trump has their back. They actually believe that Trump has their back. And I hope he makes a move and goes in there with military force and wipes out anybody around the Ayatollah Khomeini that is a follower of him and wipes them off the face of the earth. So these people can enjoy their freedom they deserve to have. The freedom was given to them by God when they were given birth. It's the bad leaders that try to take the freedom away from the people that were planted on earth by God when the seed was planted in their mother's womb, which they had no choice of who their mother was or their father was when they were born. So it's not my fault I was born white. It's not Omar's fault that she was born in Somalia. But when she comes over to America and she exemplifies how evil and how our Constitution needs to be changed and wants to transform America, get your ass back to Somalia if you don't like America, if you don't love America. We don't need you in our leadership. We don't need you wearing your phony turbans on your head and wearing them when you're in the Congress either. I mean, you represent the American people. We don't care about that. We don't need that shoved down our throats. Personally, I don't care if a woman or a man wears a turban if they believe in it 100%. But when they don't believe in it 100% and they're shoving it down our throats like we're stupid and we don't understand that they don't really believe in their God anyway, otherwise she wouldn't support abortion. So there you go. Congressman Omar, the bitch from Somalia, please get your ass back to Somalia. Or get your ass out of Congress, which you're currently being investigated because your wealth went up in your husband's account went up from $42 to $25 million in a year. His bank account went up $25 million in a year. Come on. It took me 16 years to become successful in the sex capsule business. Year after year after year. Lived in Weeklies for 5.5 years with my dog not having a backyard. Another retail outlet to buy a book is Chevron Gas, Liquor, and Convenience Store on 1301 East Altman Street. There's 2 Chevron stations. Make sure you get the right one. That's Chevron Liquor, Gas, and Convenience Store on 1301 East Altman Street in Ely, Nevada. And you'll get the free hat whenever you purchase my book.
To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth.
I worked hard to do what I did. I had to believe in what I was doing. I didn't go in like rob a bank and get the money real quickly and then run out and endanger somebody's lives. I saved thousands of men and women from having heart attacks, and my greatest achievement would have been making the sex pill, the female pill, my female pill, Kinky Pink, the most popular pill throughout America, and I would have saved hundreds and thousands of women's lives from inheriting breast cancer or tumors. So I was on God's path. I was on a beautiful path. And all these politicians that continue to get paid off by the lobbyists in Washington, D.C. and Big Pharma, that represent Big Pharma, you're on an evil path. You don't represent the American people, and you're not taking the money with you when you die and you leave this planet. And I know this already. I'm not taking any money with me either. But my beliefs, I'm taking. I'm taking my beliefs, and I'm taking my soul and my honesty behind that I leave behind. And I was not born honest. I was a thief when I was a kid. Just like I said, I used to steal candy, and I even burned a few motels when I was a pool player. So, like I said, I'm a wild oat. I was a wild one from born and raised in Utah. I was like born to travel, and I was born to be a rebel. That's exactly what I was born to be. And not every rebel is bad. Being a rebel is expounding your beliefs. Is expanding, is a better word, expanding your beliefs upon the American people when they're good beliefs and they add betterment to their lives. That's the kind of rebel I am. When I was a rebel gambler, I wasn't making people's lives better. But when I got in the sex capsule business, I made people's lives better. Sex is the most enjoyable sport there is. I don't care what sport these degenerate gamblers, sports bettors want to bet. They have to bet every time they watch a sporting event. But betting on sports is one thing. Yeah, I've never heard of anybody betting before they had sex with their wife or girlfriend. They just try to be the best they can be. So sex is the most beautiful and most pure sport there is, given to us from God, if you can stay away from a hooker. And even if you have a stripper as a girlfriend, it's not so bad as long as you can handle it. I mean, I tried to have a stripper as a girlfriend and ended up taking back the Mercedes that I bought for her because it was right around the same time that I met my wife, and my wife wasn't too happy about it when I brought the Mercedes for the stripper. But the stripper wasn't too happy that I paid off the condominium and townhouse that my wife was buying with her sister and bought her sister out. So they both complained, but it turned out being that I'm with my wife because she was pure of heart, because she's not a gold digger like the stripper was. The stripper was a gold digger, and she proved that when she got in my pocket on Halloween morning and took $250 out of my pocket. And that's when I had the car repoed on Halloween night. Actually, when I was walking into my cutthroat attorney's office, Matt Johnson's office, and she called me on the phone. And I answered, and she says, "Hey, somebody's still in my car." And I said, "Well, that's me, honey. I'm taking back the car." She says, "Why are you taking the car?" "Well, because you got in my pocket and you took $250 out of my pocket. That's why. You stole from me." "Why would you be stupid enough to steal from?" "I didn't take that from you." "No. A bird flew in and took it out of my pocket. Maybe my dog got in and grabbed it out of my pocket." We're done. You know that we're done. I've got the car. Thank you. Nice choice. Great choice. Great choice on an automobile. I didn't realize what a great choice she made on an automobile when she talked me into buying the Mercedes, the turbo Mercedes for her. I did not realize what a great car that I was buying. But I am so glad that I happened to meet her because the sex was great. And I enjoyed seeing a lot of live shows with her. And I look forward to taking my wife to every one of those shows because my wife deserves to see those shows much more than the stripper did. Because the stripper is all really out on the date for one reason, to get that $500 that I was going to give her after we had sex. And so it was basically a fun date, go out to dinner, take her to a live show, and have sex. And I guess it's not so bad being a John if you can afford it, but I refuse to hang out with any strippers in the future, and I have no enticement to walk into a strip club because my wife has a better body than all of them, and half of them have the tit jobs, and I'm not really turned on about tit jobs anyway, so strip clubs, you're just getting yourself into an environment where you turn into a sucker. And believe me, there's no way when you walk back in the VIP room that security guard has your back. First thing they do is they force you to buy 2 drinks, 2-drink minimum, and 2-dance minimum, and you pay so much money out, and then they proceed to get you drunk. Then they maybe get a hold of your credit card or debit card, and you spend a lot of money conveniently, and you don't realize how much money you spent. You got drunk like you get drunk in a casino, and they get your money. So a credit card or a debit card is a strip club's best friend, just as a casino's best friend. And they'll confiscate your money one way or the other. They'll get your money one way or the other. They're all greedy. They all care about getting your money. That's why they want you in their establishment in the first place. So the second you walk through a strip club, you're automatically a sucker. You're automatically a loser. You've lost money. If you couldn't lose the money and spend the money and be entertained and enjoy yourself, great. But don't go back in the VIP room is all I have to say. If you do, they're going to take you. Enjoy the strip club for the cheap amenities that you can enjoy. And I recommend the Crazy Horse 3 for the best strip club in Vegas, other than the Palomino Club. The Palomino Club, they take it all off. But the strip club and the Crazy Horse 3, they don't charge you cover charge. So you're able to walk in for free. But they'll charge you a lot of money for a drink at the bar. So you just nursemaid the drink and enjoy yourself and watch the strippers. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, like, women are beautiful. They're born to show off their bodies. That's why strip clubs are so popular. I've never been in a gay strip club, and I don't care to ever walk into one. But for the gay people, if that's how you become entertained, so be it. Vegas is a freedom town, so there's all kinds of things happening in Las Vegas. But as far as the casinos trying to keep me and 86 me from walking in there, well, I can make my living doing what I'm doing now, and I can enjoy playing my live poker in California and throughout America. America is my country. Vegas is my town. If you want to keep me out of your casinos and find a chicken shit reason to do so, then I'm exposing the MGM because of how their cage member went out of his way to harass me and creating the problem in the first place. And he happened to go out after the most outspoken person in America. So I don't hold back. If I get upset, I don't care who's in the room. That's how I am. And I guess I'll die that way. So anyway, when that happened and I tried to get back in the poker room, like 9 months later, tried to get back in the poker room after being kicked out for 9 months. Contacted the poker director, Ryan Kirk, the poker room manager. He's a bum. Again, without the World Series of Poker, they wouldn't even have a poker room. They would have closed it down and put slot machines in there. But he sends me back an email around New Year's and says, "Oh, you're 86 for life, indefinitely. I'm kicked out of the Aria Poker Room." Well, if I'm kicked out of the Aria Poker Room, I'm not able to play poker in the MGM Grand. I'm not able to play poker in Mandalay Bay. I'm not able to play poker in the Luxor. I'm not able to play poker in Excalibur. I'm not able to play live poker in any one of their leased establishments, which they're renting. They're paying a lease fee from Vera Real Estate Investment Company, which owns the entire strip, other than the Wynn. And Vera even owns Strato, the old Stratosphere, which is run by a different gaming company and owned by a different gaming company that leases that space. But they don't have a poker room. If they did, I'd go in there and play. But they wouldn't have a high limit game that I'd like playing. So I just don't like playing low limit. I don't bear down and play it as good as I do higher limit. I try harder. I'm more focused when I play high limit. Just like a sports bettor is focused when they bet sports and they are able to watch a sporting event. That's why everybody has to bet on a sporting event that's hooked on betting sports. They'll bet money on that sporting event because now it's more interesting for them to watch. And basically what they're doing, sports betting is just like playing live poker in a casino. They're a neutral party. The only thing that they're collecting is the juice money. They're charging you the 10% juice fee when you make a sports bet. 10% juice is outrageous. That's outrageous. That's a huge, huge rake. Imagine if you were playing live poker and you took a $200 pot and they raked $20 out of the $200 pot. There's no way that you could beat that game at the end of the year. There's no way you could win at the end of that year. If you won a $500 pot and they rake 10% of the rake out of that pot, which they do in Macau, China, they'll take 10% out of the pot, no matter what's in the pot. There's no way you can beat that game because the luck factor is too great, playing poker in the first place. And poker players aren't separated that much from the best player to the worst player. So the skill factor goes way down in poker, in playing poker. It goes down way lower level to a much lower level playing poker than it does playing pool against your opponent. Pool is like 90% skill and 10% luck playing pool. Playing poker is like 60% skill and 40% luck. And that's basically the ratio between winning as a good player and being a great player and losing. You basically can't control the deck. So even if you play great and you make every possible move that's good and you don't make any mistakes in the game, that doesn't mean you're going to beat the poker game, because the luck factor took over and you might lose that day. And the secret is not to lose too much money in a session, which I had a problem doing when I played poker. I played live poker, and I played poker for a living. I didn't manage my money that well. I won much more often than I lost, but my losses were greater than my wins. But I won 4 out of 5 sessions, so I was able to beat the game that way because I won much more consistently than most poker players. And I do that to this day. But getting back to casinos, how they make the money off of sports betting is they charge a rake. They charge you 10% juice when you make the bet. And when you put up the bet, you're only going to get back so much. Or you're going to pay the fee when you lose. And they're going to get that juice money. And all you're doing is basically flipping a coin when you bet sports, because the bookies that work in the background for the sports book and they set the lines, they know every in and out information there possibly is. They know everything in advance, much more than any consumer or any client that's betting sports at the sports book. So the consumer does not have the knowledge to compete with the professional bookmaker or the people in the background that set the lines. They have no clue about what's going on like these individuals have. These individuals are absolute pros. They're like the people that they're on a higher level, much higher level than the surveillance that's watching for people cheating a pit, blackjack or a craps game or any other game in the casino out of money, of slot machines, whatever it may be. They're on a 10 times higher level than surveillance watching people cheating, trying to cheat a casino out of money. Actually, a casino will consider anybody a cheater that beats them out of money on a regular basis. How can you beat us with these odds? You have to be cheating at something. You have to be counting the cards. You have to be having some kind of a team effort. Maybe the dealer's cheating with you. Maybe he's exposing the card, the burn card, whatever it may be. There's got to be some form of cheating that's going on. They check for the dice to make sure that fake dice aren't put in by a customer. They always check the dice. They have a dice checking machine at the craps table. So they have all kinds of improvisations to check and see if the clientele is cheating. And the second any client starts beating the casino in the pit area out of money, they figure you're cheating them. And they can kick you out of that casino and call you a cheater. And they've done it to a lot of people. They've kicked them out of the casino and consider them a cheater. Well, I got kicked out of the casino not because I'm a sucker. I got kicked out of the casino because they found an excuse. They manufactured an excuse from a cage member to harass me when I went up to the cage to cash my checks out. Say, oh, you really don't want this, do you? Well, I wouldn't have put both fingers underneath the cage and told him to stop talking like he was if he hadn't harassed me in the first place. But they overlooked that. See, they didn't care about the cage member. They cared about what I did. And I'm the client. Well, casino does not exist without its clientele. And this is why I'm exposing the MGM for who they are, because they don't care about their clientele. All they want is your money. And they've proven this by hiring Jamie Foxx as their ambassador to sports betting, and they're trying to create a convenient book for the American public to bite onto and bet and gamble and place bets when they're not in the casino. That's what's so powerful about sports betting. They can book bets when you're not even having to walk into a casino. You have to walk into a casino to play live poker in a casino. So you have to put your own personal presence in that building that they're leasing out, in that poker room they're leasing out from Vera investment properties. So they're basically running the poker room and paying a lease fee, and they're charging you a rake. You're not gambling against the house, but they depend on you to walk in there so they can obtain the rake in any poker game there is. That's how they make their revenue. Well, without clients, without any people walking into a live poker room, there is no poker room, and that's why they get rid of it. And that's why they were able to survive, because of the World Series of Poker, which goes on for 2 months in Vegas and is very powerful in Las Vegas, and actually brings Caesars Gaming Incorporated, helping pay their debt, which they directly sponsor the World Series of Poker at the Horseshoe that used to be Bally's Hotel and Casino. And that's directly across the street from the Bellagio. So you have two casino entities competing with each other. You have one that tries to run Las Vegas its own way, and then the other one that tries to run Las Vegas its way. And they don't really care about the clientele. And if they don't want you in there, they're going to find an excuse to get you out. Well, I was chased out of Caesars Properties. I was chased out of the Horseshoe. Had a person tell me like he threatened me at the poker game, and I stood up and I said, "What the fuck are you saying?" And I got kicked out for the night. I said, "Well, what about him? Do you want to hear about what he said to me?" No, we don't have time for that. We don't need you standing up at the table and disrupting the game. I said, the game hasn't even started in the first place. And all I was doing was moving over to another seat so I didn't have to sit next to this scumbag. Look, if you continue talking about this incident, we're going to call security on you, and then you're going to be kicked out of here for good. You have to leave for the night. And before I could even walk out of the room, security was on top of the situation. Then the floor man said, "Okay," the rental floor man that comes in for 2 months each year says, "Okay, you're going to have to go back and talk to this guy named Jay to get back in the room." And I said, "Well, what about the other guy? The other guy that threatened me? What are you going to do about him? He's able to sit and play in the game?" And I walked out. I wasn't 86 until I came back to talk to Jay, and then Jay didn't want to hear about the situation whatsoever. And I told him, I said, "Look, you need to listen to me. You need to listen to what happened, because I got rolled up on a report, and I'm not the only person who caused the problem. I'm the one who was calling the guy out for threatening me in the first place. I don't have time to hear it." And I said, "It's very important to me to be able to tell you what happened, Jay, because I don't need to be told, oh, if I get out of line again, I'm kicked out for life." "Okay, well, look, you are kicked out for life. You're out of here for good." "Okay." They 86 me, and they walked me out. Now I'm waiting for Caesars Gaming Company to contact me back on an email. If they reinstate me, I'll let you know that. I'll let you know they reinstated me. If they don't, and they 86 me from the properties, and I'm not able to play in the World Series of Poker, I'm definitely going to let you know. And I'll let you know more about the World Series of Poker in the future. So I'm just laying idle on that, trying to show them a little respect and give them a chance to be who they are. If they act like the whores in the wind that they did when they kicked me out, and they continue to roll with that, then so be it. But that's not going to happen for my lifetime, because they're going to get sick and tired of me exposing them for who they are and what they're doing. And again, the American public is the entity behind the casino's success. If the American public did not walk into a casino, if they didn't have clientele that walked in there, they would be worthless. So they depend on the American people and tourists from other countries to come in and gamble and spend their money in the restaurants and the hotels and go to see the live shows, whatever it may be. And the longer they can keep you underneath their roof, the more successful they've accomplished their task. Secret is to get you to stay in the casino, stay in the hotel above, and never leave their space. That's their true strategy. And they own casinos next door to each other on purpose, and they offer different qualities of food in the casinos next door to each other. They offer more expensive food in one casino, cheaper food in another, and that's how they obtain a certain clientele also. And they try to keep them as close to their business as they possibly can. And that's why the Strip is basically owned by 3 or 4 corporations as far as the gaming goes. But it's all owned by one real estate company, Vera Real Estate Investments. The entire Strip, except the Wynn casinos, the Wynn and the Encore. The Wynn and the Encore is the only outside gaming corporation that operates itself. Other than that, you've got Caesars Gaming Company, and you've got the MGM and Golden. What's Straddle owned by, Ivan, my brother? What's Straddle owned by? Who's the gaming company that owns Straddle? I already know that it's Vera Enterprises, real estate investment that owns the property, that owns the entire strip throughout Las Vegas. Well, Caesars is the second largest gaming company in the world. I heard that there's a larger gaming company in China that took over number one. As the number one gaming company in the world. And the MGM is number 3. So Caesars is number 2, and the MGM is number 3. Another retail outlet selling my book and free hat is Hoover Dam and Liquor in Boulder City, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas and outside of Henderson, Nevada, just south of there on the way to Phoenix. So that's 1311 Boulder City Parkway is where they're located. Hoover Dam and Liquor. Go over there to the best little liquor store in the state of Nevada. Hoover Dam Liquor.
To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth.
Getting back to the sports betting, they go after the American public's jugular, and they know that sports betting is America's downfall, the MGM. And this goes for the CEO and president of the MGM, Gaming Incorporated. And they, thank you, Ivan, and they know this, and this is all done by the CEO and president of the MGM. Hornbuckle. William Hornbuckle, which I call Hornybuckle. He's horny for the American public's money. He needs to get the American public's money out of their pockets to bring the MGM out of debt. And they're slowly bringing themselves out of debt by advertising sports betting on national television, spending 10% of their gross profit on the sports betting on advertising. Why not? That's what companies do. They spend about 10% of their gross revenue on advertising. Any company, any business in America, if they're smart and they're a well-run business, they're going to regenerate about 10% of the gross revenue back into advertising, because advertising is the name of the game. The more powerful you advertise, and the more readily you advertise, the more exposure you get, and the more you're able to implant in the human public's brain what you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is you're trying to advertise. And that's exactly what they're doing. He knows exactly what he's doing, Hornybuckle. That's why he hired Jamie Foxx the same time he took over the position as CEO and president of the MGM in 2020. So they've been doing this for about 5 years. Now consider this. $1 billion is $100 million. So every time you bet, every time the American public bets $1 billion, that means the sportsbook receives $100 million in revenue. 10%. They're charging 10% juice. So that's $100 billion. And in the last 5 years, they've been able to bring their debt down quite a bit because of this advertising game they're playing and the sports betting game they're playing in hiring Jamie Foxx at the same time Hornbuckle was hired. I can guarantee you he acquired Jamie Foxx to become their gambling ambassador. And that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. Trying to get the American public to bet more and more money on the sports betting. And every time anybody who's hooked on sports betting watches any sporting event, they're going to make a bet. They're going to make a bet. And volume runs up. The bets might not be really big. They might not like lose $8,000 in one day like I did in the Aria when I was able to play my last poker hand before I went up to the cage to cash my $12 in chips out. because all it took was a good night's sleep and come back the next day, and it's a new session. But they want to break your balls. That's what they want to do. That's what player haters do. They want to break your balls and get you when you're in the heat of the moment and make you do something stupid. That's why they go out of their way to aggravate you. That's why the poker dealer went out of his way to aggravate me and throw my drinks in the garbage at the Red Hawk Hotel and Casino in their poker room, to get out of the box and dump my drinks in the garbage. What he knew he wasn't supposed to do it, but he knew that he wasn't going to get any heat from the poker room manager when he did, because they always know that management has their backs. And these are people that actually earn their living from their clientele toking them. So if they get a client that they don't like and they go out of the way to aggravate them, it's no big deal. They're still going to make their living. And like I say, I don't over-toke poker dealers in the first place, because I've never seen one throw me back a dollar when I lost a pot. But I don't get mad at them when I lose a pot. I just tune them out. And that's why I'm a cheap toker. I just don't toke much money to poker dealers, because I know it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. And if I throw a poker room manager, a floor person, a $5 chip for catered to, whatever, well, he's getting a $5 chip from all other types of poker players, and maybe more, maybe a $25 chip. So to him, I'm just like another whore in the wind that's giving him money, and he has no loyalty to me or anybody. The only thing he's loyal to is that casino that employs him, so he can make his money off of tokes. And why a poker dealer that makes their money off of tokes also, that's exactly who they're loyal to, the house. They're not loyal to the clientele. They can care less about the clientele. They might act like they do, but they don't care. But they really love the ones that go out of the way to toke them more money, because they'll cater to those people more. They're whores in the wind, just like a stripper in a strip club, whores in the wind. But if you can enjoy their entertainment, enjoy playing poker in a live poker room, and enjoy that factor and not worry about it, more power to you. That's an external ingredient that I imply on my winning and losses, winning sessions and losing sessions. That has to do with my wins. At the end of the session, if I beat the game out of so much and I only took $20 during that session versus like 40, 50, or maybe 100, well, that's a lot of money day in, day out. So I'm smart enough to know that don't give them too much money, because they don't really appreciate you anyway. They really don't care. They've proven that through the years. I have nothing against poker dealers or floor people. Floor people in California are whores also. They'll give you good service. They want to get toked, and I don't mind toking them. My favorite casino in America, and always will be, is Hollywood Park. And I beat Hollywood Park out of more money playing poker than any casino in America. And I'll probably die believing that Hollywood Park is my favorite casino of all throughout the world, which is exactly where the Chargers and the Rams play. One weekend the Rams will play, and the next weekend the Chargers will play. So the SoFi Stadium, which is the most beautiful stadium in the world, in America, and I'm sure it's the most beautiful stadium in the world, because I know it is in America, and it's the most modern stadium, along with Allegiant Stadium. And Allegiant Stadium is another beautiful stadium also. They're both beautiful stadiums. But SoFi Stadium is just a little nicer than Allegiant Stadium. And that's right where they used to have the racetrack at Hollywood Park, the Hollywood Park racetrack, which I used to enjoy watching the horses race and bet a few bucks on them. No big deal. Lose $20 during the horse races. No big deal. It was good entertainment. But anybody who would be dumb enough to bet on an animal is dumber than anybody who would bet on sports. Because all you're doing is like not only flipping coins, but you're depending on the mood that animal's in that day. And if they want to win the race, and the jockey, if the jockey's good enough to ride that horse and win the race. So the variables are even more great when you're betting on horses. It's just a tougher way to bet than even sports. But it's a sickness, and that's why people get hooked on betting on the horses, and they go to the races. in Pasadena, that's where they have a current racetrack, and it's a lot of fun. I love it. Pasadena's great. It's just up above Glendale, where I used to live, and Eagle Rock, where I saw the great movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, the greatest movie I ever saw. And that dumb Whoopi Goldberg, the song The View on ABC, is that it? It's ABC, right, Ivan? ABC, where the View is on. I don't watch that stupid show. I was going to call my podcast The Roadrunner's View, but when Trump's daughter-in-law called it Laura's View, Laura Trump, I just thought I'll just stay away from that name, and I picked a better name, the Roadrunner Podcast. And I'll roll with that now. But anyway, that's called Golden Entertainment, where they had the straddle that leases the property from Vera Real Estate Incorporated. And that's a beautiful piece of property. Beautiful, nostalgic building that was built in Las Vegas, the second largest, or the largest. It is the largest building. It is the largest building, the tallest building structure in the state of Nevada, the straddle. But Nevada is not like New York City or L.A. It doesn't have the really tall buildings or other major cities in America. So Nevada really doesn't have any tall buildings. But straddle is the tallest structure of any building in the state of Nevada. It was called Stratosphere by Bob Stupak, the crackhead. Guy used to like to smoke boulders when I smoked like a chipmunk. And took my first crackhead a block down from there in the Oasis Hotel. Oh, they're on ABC. That's who the View is on. The ABC, another phony news station, socialist-owned news station. NBC, all of them. They're all corrupt, and they're all full of shit. And none of them go out of the way to tell the truth about Trump, about his agenda. But so be it. I'll tell the truth about Trump. And hopefully my podcast will become more well-known and gain greater exposure. And I can get you to keep from walking in the MGM properties, which includes Mandalay Bay, Luxor, the New York. Of course, the MGM was the one who built the lion in the entrance where you had to walk underneath the lion, which was the worst mistake ever made. And that was the worst mistake ever made in the casino business, other than kicking me out and saying that I'm kicked out indefinitely. Well, I'll accept their apology if they let me back in, because I am the most knowledgeable person about gambling in America as far as I'm concerned. I wrote the greatest chapter about gambling there is ever written. It's an honest chapter. It's not like David Solansky's books on poker. And David Solansky is a great guy. I just saw him in the Orleans Casino like about 2 or 3 months ago. I saw him and said hello to him. I actually met him back in Gulfport, Mississippi. He was sitting next to me. I didn't know who he was, and he said, "Do you want to chop this pot?" He was sitting on my left and my right, and he said, "Do you want to chop this blind?" And I said, "No, I like to play." And he didn't say a word. And then he said after the hand, he said, "You're better off chopping the blinds when it's a rake, because they're raking our money on a blind. But in a time game, if you like playing heads up, maybe you're better off playing the blind." And I listened to that comment, that statement he made, because we can learn from everybody. And David Solansky was definitely sharper about poker than me. And he knows, and his knowledge is much greater about poker than mine. He's written more books on poker than any living human. And but there's one thing that David left out when he wrote. He kissed the casino's asses. He didn't want to tell the truth and expose them for who they are. The only true movie that was ever made about casinos that I've ever seen in the past was the movie Casino. And Robert De Niro played the part of a professional sports bettor and a bookie. And he was the one who was brought in to the casino, which was the Flamingo. That's where they filmed the movie, was in the Flamingo Hotel and Casino. And he was the one who was brought in to that casino to run it, and he turned it into a big win. He turned all their internal losses into wins, and he ran the casino very effectively and turned it right around. And the MGM is just a very, very poorly run casino, all the way to the Lion Head, when you had to walk underneath the lion. And that was like That was their huge mistake. Only a $40 million mistake. No big deal, right? They can afford it because they've got a lockup on the gambling, right? Well, constant mistakes are made in this casino corporation all the time. When they kicked me out and they allowed their poker room cage member to harass me and not address the problem with him and only address the problem like I was the true culprit, that's a perfect example of why they have so many internal problems. Plus, they have internal theft. And that's why they got so far in debt, $30 billion in debt. And that's why they created the sports betting to where you can just conveniently bet sports. And they hired Jamie Foxx. So it all boils down to bullshit. And then it all boils down to bad management. That's why the second worst mistake they made was kicking me out indefinitely, which they call indefinitely. Well, I'm still breathing. I'm still able to play poker in America, and I'm still able to play poker throughout California in every casino there is, and every poker room there is. And if they want to kick me out of playing poker in Las Vegas, okay, that's all right. Because I'm not really a professional poker player anyway. I play on the side. I play because I enjoy it. I love competing. And the poker action is much better in California anyway. It's just not quite as convenient. So I'll buy a house in California and get it over with. Then it will be highly convenient. The worst mistake, again, they made was when they kicked me out. The best thing and the best decision ever made by a casino, ever in history, is by the Commerce Casino, when they were the first public establishment to have balls enough to say, hey, we're not allowing smoking in our public establishment anymore. We no longer have a smoking room to where you have to go inside and just smoke in that room inside a casino. We're abolishing any smoking in the casino whatsoever. You have to walk outside to smoke a cigarette. Or I used to go outside and smoke a joint. I couldn't smoke a joint in the casino anyway, so it didn't bother me one bit. But walking out to smoke a cigarette in the casino, people were running in and out of that casino. The same day they made that rule. This is the first public establishment in America, all the way to New York City, all the way throughout L.A., all the way throughout the entire country. They were the first public establishment in the 48 states to not allow smoking. And probably Alaska and Hawaii also, I can include them also, because they were the first public establishment in all 50 states to never allow a person to smoke in their public establishment, whether it be a bar, a restaurant, an office building, a federal building, a courthouse, any kind of business there is. No smoking in the Commerce Casino. The first business to ever incorporate that and envelop that. On this exact day, I can remember. I can't give you the date right now on my podcast, but I'll give it to you later if I think about it. But the first day, this was like 28 years ago. 28 years ago when they did this, right? Roughly like 28 years ago when they incorporated this law. And it was the greatest decision they ever made, because the same day they made this decision to not allow smoking in their establishment, in the Commerce Casino, right off the 5 freeway in the city of Commerce, the greatest public casino ever created in its time as far as like a successful business. It was so successful. Well, now they ran the poker room in the ground, but they make so much money off the pie gown and pan 9 and in tile games or whatever games they have in their casino, blackjack, whatever it may be. They could care less about poker. It's just taking up their space, and they use the space in one room now. They don't have it in 2 different rooms like they used to in the past. They got rid of the other room. Now they just have it in one space, and they have all their other games in the other space, huge space in the casino. And it's got a huge parking lot, so it has so much clientele that goes there on a daily basis. But when they didn't allow smoking, people were running in and out of the casino because they incorporated a new rule in the poker games. The same day they didn't allow smoking in their establishment, to where you could come in between the blinds. And if you missed the big blind, you could come in the next hand, buy the big blind and the small blind together, and still get the button the next hand. So you only lost one hand. So people were running in and out, in and out of the casino to smoke their cigarette, run back, come back and play the next hand and still obtain the button. So they really didn't lose much value whatsoever. And it made the game so great. It made the games fantastic. It didn't hurt the games one bit. It had no effect on the games whatsoever. So whoever thought that rule up was an absolute genius. And whoever eliminated no smoking in their establishment, God bless you. It was the greatest decision ever made in a casino or in any public establishment, in any business, including any government building or business run by the government in history. Because other businesses followed after the Commerce made this rule. Restaurants followed their lead, and bars followed their lead. And the smart bars, what they did was they built a patio area where you could go out and smoke in the patio in the back, and then go in the bar where there was no smoking and people didn't have to breathe the smoke. And these bars were the most successful that adapted to the new rule that was all created by the Commerce Casino off the 5 freeway in the city of Commerce. This is why California is like an ingenuical state. It's like it creates things and it's ahead of other states and certain entities. That's why it's such a great state. But the politicians are so bad, such as Uncle Newley, that are dragging the state down in the ground. More people are moving out of California than moving in. But I can guarantee you all these houses that are selling throughout L.A. and throughout California, they don't have a problem selling these houses because there's so much money throughout the world that will buy these properties and these houses that wants to live in California. So there's so much money throughout the world. These houses have no problem selling. And what causes the price to go up so much on a house in California is the land it sits on. Just like the land in Saigon is so expensive because there's only so much land on Earth. And there's only so much land in between the ocean and the mountains. And this is what makes land so expensive and homes so expensive in California. And I don't worry about that because it's a land of opportunity as far as I'm concerned, because I plan on being in the entertainment business when I die. I could care less about being a professional poker player. I'll play on the side and play to compete and enjoy playing. But I don't want to be a full-time poker player. There's too much in life to offer than worry about just playing poker. So Ryan Kirk, you can definitely kiss my ass. You made it a little inconvenient for me to play poker while I live in Las Vegas, which is my favorite city in the world. But I'll take California, the state of California, over the state of Nevada because they're too uptight in the state of Nevada. Too uptight about everything. Everybody has their head up their ass. They remind me of my family. It doesn't matter about politics. Politics are not going to bring me and my family together. It never has. Even though I'm the greatest Trump supporter of all, you think one member of my family has ever called me and said, "Hey, I think it's great how you support Trump, and I think it's great that you are in the sex capsule business. I think it's great that you play poker so well. I wish I could play poker like you." Or I think it's fantastic that you have such a beautiful wife. Or anything that I possibly do that I'm proud of, they've never gone out of the way to congratulate me or commend me for ever in the past and ever will in the future. And they'll never have my back in the future. So just like I say, people in Nevada, like the poker rooms in Nevada, can kiss my ass. If they allow me to walk back in their poker room or the World Series of Poker and play poker from Caesars Gaming Incorporated, if they allow me to go back in and play poker, I'll probably win a World Series of Poker tournament. If they don't, so be it. No big deal. I mean, I'll beat the ring games. If I walk back in any casino, it's going to be on my terms, not their terms, to where I have to kiss their ass and say, "Okay, I'll never get out of line again." No, I'm the Roadrunner. I am the most outspoken person in America, and if somebody goes out of their way to piss me off in any casino, especially anybody that works in a casino that's supposed to cater to the public and the clientele, including me, to be treated fairly just like anybody else, well, that's the way I want it. Otherwise, kiss my ass, and I'll enjoy exposing you in the future. So I say this. Don't gamble in the MGM. Don't gamble in the Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur, New York, the Aria, the Cosmopolitan, the Bellagio, the Mirage, Treasure Island, don't bother. You could go gamble elsewhere. And personally, I think that Caesars Gaming Company might let me back in. They should. They chased me out of there. I didn't do anything wrong. But if they delegitimize their decision and continue to roll with it, then I'll expose the World Series of Poker for what it is. And I'm not going to go out of my way now to do that. But I can do that later on. Because this is my town, and I have the right, as an American, to speak my mind and speak the truth. So go ahead and fuck with me if you want. Like I said, this is my town. This is the people's town. This is your clientele's town. You exist for one reason only, because of your clientele. And I represent the clientele in your casinos because I represent the American public. And maybe my podcast will travel throughout the world, and I'll remind tourists not to walk in your establishments also and give you their money. Go downtown. Go to downtown Las Vegas where it's heart-spun, where it's like a homespun environment. Go enjoy yourself at the Cirque, which is the most beautiful casino downtown, and the El Cortez, which is another beautiful renovated casino that's been around for years, and Jerry's Nugget across from the Palomino Club if you want to go to the nicest strip club in America. In Vegas also, but America depends on Las Vegas for strip clubs because Vegas has the best strip clubs in the world. And my favorite strip club again is Chinese. Is the God Almighty. I got this from my father. I apologize for calling Palestine, Ohio, Idaho, and kept getting dumbfounded, tongue-founded, and that's just me. I'm a creative thinker, so sometimes I can't control the word that's going to come out of my tongue because I'm thinking about something else. But I'm almost thinking about Palestine, Ohio, because there is no Palestine in Idaho. The greatest city in Idaho is all the cities in Idaho, actually. Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Boise, Idaho, Caldwell, Idaho, all the way up to Ontario, Oregon, that's on the border, and then you go up through Baker, Oregon, and every small town in America I love. I love rural areas. I love small towns in America. I've never been robbed on a bill in the sex capsule business other than by one person in Boise, Idaho, who's a millionaire gas station owner from Afghanistan, immigrated here to America, along with his brother who owns another gas station in Caldwell, Idaho. And Joya beat me out of $600 on the last bill. He beat me out of $600 and never paid the bill. I kept the bill. And he paid me off. He owed me a total of $7,156. He paid me $6,556. So he owed me $600 off of one bill, but he paid all the other bills. But I slyly sat in the background because I didn't want to argue with him about the other bills because I was afraid he was going to beat me out of those bills also. So I was cool about it and had him mail me a check, and he mailed me a check. And then after he mailed me a check, and I deposited the check in my bank account and let it clear. I called him back 10 days later, and I said, Joey, there's one bill that you haven't paid. You left one bill out. He says, well, I paid that. I said, no, Joey, you didn't pay the bill. If you paid the bill, I would have given you the yellow copy, the pink copy, saying that it was paid and put the check number on it. But I still got the copy, and I didn't want to argue about it with you because I was afraid you were going to give me a hard time about the other bills if I did. So I just left it in the back burner, and I need you to pay me on this bill. He refused to pay it. Wouldn't answer his phone for months. Wouldn't answer his phone. Then he sold the gas station on 123 Orchard in Boise, Idaho, the Chevron gas station and car wash. He sold the gas station. Then the new owner, I called the new owner on the phone and says to the new owner, I said, hey, please have Joya pay this bill. Please have him pay this $600 bill. It's not just the money, it's the principle. I gave him great service. He sold my product. He sold it out. He made his profit and high profit off my merchandise. He sold the blister packs for he paid me like $2-3 tops for the blister packs, and he sold them for like $12, $13 each. Incredible. So he's making $10 profit above his expense. And if he paid the bill, he paid me, but he didn't want to pay the bill on 10 boxes. So he jammed the price down on the 50 boxes that I sold him originally. He jammed them down to the original price that I was selling them for before. But I told him, if I sell you this inventory, the last of my inventory, I've raised the price, and I'm charging you the same price that I charged everybody else. He said, okay. And I left him the 50 boxes, but he slyly figured out a way to stiff me out a $600 bill on purpose, and now he could bring the boxes down to $60 per box instead of $72 per box, which is what I charged him on the invoice. So he's supposed to be sly as a fox. Remember, I told you, you can't rob a human being and rip off your God. You can't steal from a human being without your God knowing. So I've already called him out of that, reminding him that whatever you call your God, you cannot rob your God, because when you rob me, you're robbing your God. So send me my $600 check and stop your bullshit. And he refused to mail me the check to this day. And I told the people at 123 Orchard, the Chevron gas station in Boise, Idaho, I told them on 123 Orchard, have Joya pay this bill so I don't have to tell the story about this business, because that's where I shipped the product to, was 123 Orchard. Well, take care of it with Joya personally. I says, well, Joya won't answer his phone, so I need you to call him and tell him, and remind him to pay the bill. I didn't ship the product to his doorstep at his house where he lives in Boise, Idaho. I shipped the product, the 10 boxes, to this gas station, to this location. So you are involved. Your location is involved. And that's what I'm going to say on my podcast, that I shipped 10 boxes of Kinky Kong that I never got paid for. Take your car to Zach Hall's Urban Auto Works on 1010 North Stephanie Street, Suite 1A. I can guarantee it'll be the best mechanical work that will ever be done on your car. It's a personalized job for them. It's not a game of numbers. They're conscientious on anything they do. That includes oil changes, fluid flushes, alignments, brakes. Any kind of diagnostic work that needs to be done, they specialize in, and they do all types of engine work, top of the line. Take your car to Zach Hall's Urban Auto Works on 1010 North Stephanie Street, Suite 1A in Henderson, Nevada, straight out of Vegas. Anywhere in Las Vegas you live, take your car there. You can't go wrong. You can't miss.
To purchase my book, go to www.theroadrunnerpodcast.com, and I'll throw in that free hat with any book purchase. My title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, is the greatest title ever created. Without the sun and the moon feeding off each other, there is no life on Earth.
Kinky Kong was the greatest name ever created for a sex capsule. And like I said, I'll give it to Viagra or Cialis if they want to sell their blister packs and put them over the shelves and get rid of this phony, felonious law that's been created and been embedded in the cement and in the D.C. swamp in Washington, D.C. They want to get rid of the prescription law so you don't have to take the product by prescription. Well, definitely they can take over the market, and they can use their consistent names on the front of the blister packs presented by Viagra or Cialis, the companies, and use my Kinky Kong name. I will gladly let them use that name because they advertise so much on TV to make it possible for me to make money in my business in the future. God bless them. I think that Viagra and Cialis are great companies. I think that they need to implement a new strategy and get rid of this prescription law and sell their product in capsule form, which is the healthiest way there is to take sildenafil or tadalafil. And if they want to mix their recipes together and use their company name, so be it. More power to them. But the money is in the market over the counter, where the American public can readily and accessibly buy a sex capsule or a female pill, my Kinky Pink. I'll give you that name also, because it will save thousands of women's lives from having heart attacks and tumors. I mean, it will save thousands of men and women from having heart attacks. Not to mention, the female pill will save women from inheriting breast cancer and tumors, the female pill, which will get into their glands and breast tissue and clean it out. And this is the greatest thing about sex pills or sex capsules. Sex pills and sex capsules are great for men and women, especially pregnant women, regarding a sex capsule that has high blood pressure, because it's a longer lasting effect, which I strongly recommend a pregnant woman with high blood pressure take 2 sex capsules every week. to enable that blood to flow throughout their body and to their baby's womb. Definitely recommend it. Anybody in the government wants to call me out, well, go ahead. Get off your ass. Get off the back seat and let's have a debate about it. All right? Let's put me on the ladder, the same ladder as RFK, in charge of Food and Drug Administration or whatever his duties are. And let's get on the ship. Let's get the ship rolling. Let's take care of business. I am the Roadrunner. I am the smartest person about sildenafil and tadalafil on the entire planet. What advantage is there to try to bring me down when I can save thousands of men's and women's lives from having heart attacks and from inheriting Alzheimer's disease? Who wants to get Alzheimer's disease? Well, when the newscasters and the news agencies all said on national television that when sildenafil was taken regularly, they were talking about Viagra. They weren't talking about sex capsules because sex capsules are underneath the rug. They don't advertise sex capsules. They don't talk about sex capsules in Washington, D.C. They want to shove it underneath the rug because these distributorships in the background sneaking the products into America, their packaged goods into America on large ships and paying off customs in the FDA. They're not going to advertise for them. They're in the background. They don't exist. Although I exist, right? Well, I'm just a sole-owned distributorship, sole-owned company that specialized in selling sex capsules that they chose to go after and set an example of. And their new federal prosecutor, and I made a mistake on my past podcast. I called Charlie Hurt, my first podcast out. I want to apologize for that. And you'll accept my apology now on this podcast, but I will say this. Not everything that I say is 100% fact. It's not. My book is based on opinions. If I based everything on fact, again, I would not have faith in God. I would not have faith in our Creator. I would not be able to think up the title, The Roadrunner in the Yellow Zone, because the greatest gift from God is the sun and the moon to Earth. The greatest gift ever other than birth. Other than man being able to plant the seed in a woman's womb. And only a woman can have a baby, so all these Democratic activists can kiss my ass. Only a woman can have a baby. They're afraid to say anything because they won't receive their funding in the future. So that's why they want to come out in public and make the statement on national television. That's why they won't say it and admit to it. That's why Uncle Newly won't admit to it, which is a total scam artist. None of them will admit to it because it will eliminate their future funding. And they have to get that funding. That's what they want more than anything. That's what gives them the power in the future. Because they have to have more funding than the Republican incumbents, anybody running against them in the Republican Party, because they have no agenda to talk about. So they need money. They need money to lie about, to put false advertisements out on the radio, on television, anything it may be. They need to incorporate fake ads loaded with lies, just like The View, the show on ABC, The View, loaded with lies, loaded with bullshit. Talk about a dumb bitch, Whoopi Goldberg, who was in the movie Ghost, and she still doesn't get it. She had the opportunity to be in one of the greatest movies and most influential movies that I ever saw in my lifetime. Top 3. Ghost. I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, you have to get the video. You have to watch the movie. It's fantastic. This is exactly what happens to us when we leave and we die. Good spirits take us out of our bodies or bad spirits. I know it. There's no doubt in my mind. If you don't believe me, then you have your own faith and enjoy your own faith. I have my faith. I have my own belief in God. And I know that I was on a good path. But getting back to sex capsules, they're the healthiest and start-friendly medicine in the world. The public needs to bite onto them and take them twice a week. And mine were the best because they had no fillers, so that means they had a longer-lasting effect. They had a stronger effect, which made them more healthy, and they kicked in a little more quickly. This is what I just figured out to say, and this is natural thinking. This is logical thought. Nature is logic.
They kicked in a little more quickly because the fillers weren't keeping them from kicking in because they weren't obstructing the secret recipe. So they kicked in a little more quickly than any sex capsule in the world. This is why sex capsules will be created in the future. If the government ever gets involved in Viagra or Cialis, take the fillers out. You don't need the fillers in sex capsules, only your pill, only any pill form. The kinky pink, you need fillers to create the pill. Go ahead and take that old recipe from Guangzhou, China, that I took to India and had Abdullah make in the factory. And he was so diligent about having such a good quality pill made. Abdullah did a great job. He was the best. Abdullah was a true believer, and he also is a true educator as far as fillers go. That's who I learned from. A guy half my age. We can learn from anybody on this planet. It doesn't matter how old they are. Youngsters know a lot. They don't know as much about older people, but they will, and they'll know even more. A lot of them will become even smarter than most old people, because youngsters that are smart and continue to get smarter and smarter and look at things in a logical way, in a logical process, and have God in the back of their mind and not Marxism in the back of their mind, their brains will go forward, and they'll be logical thinkers, and they'll be positive thinkers. But this Marxism getting in their brain and thinking about Marxist thoughts, that's just going to warp your brain and make you dumber than you really are. And there's a lot of dumb people out there. A lot of Marxists out there protesting in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and trying to knock ice off the block. Say, oh, crush ice, and different messages they put on their little signs, and it's all pre-programmed. They all know where to be, and there's a lot of outward money going into that process, and it's all agenda being created by the Democratic activists. And Jacob Frey and Tampon Tim, put them in handcuffs. Get rid of them. They've overstepped. 2 people have been killed because of their stupid-ass agenda that they're trying to spring on to the American people, to the public that's in Minneapolis. And they're freezing their asses off while they're out there in the public. Freezing their asses off in cold weather and below temperatures, lower than freezing temperatures. They're just freezing their asses off, and they're going about protesting in the wrong fashion. They need to protest peacefully, and they're breaking windows in motels where the ICE agents are staying, and they're doing everything possible to go against what the American public voted for. They're a very small segment. And Tampon Tim, you're trying to sway the agenda from you being such a bum and allowing all the scamming to go on and all the fraud to go on in the past in Minnesota. So you can definitely kiss my ass, and I'm so glad that you're not running for governor. And Gavin Newsom, they're coming for you, Uncle Newly. They're coming for you. And I guess this is about it. So please, go give your action to another casino other than any MGM leased property or gaming company. Go give your action to somebody else, and don't bet sports. It's no good. You can't win. You can't win flipping coins and paying 10% juice to do it. If you were flipping coins and calling a head or a tail at the end of the year, you wouldn't make any money. You'd probably break even, right? If you were lucky, you'd probably break even. But think of all the time wasted and all the energy wasted that you'd be spending to flip coins and bet on flipping coins, whether it's a head or a tail. Well, that's the same thing with betting sports, but you're paying 10% juice to do it. So that makes you even a greater sucker. So I end my case right here. I rest my case right here. Go give your action to downtown Vegas, the homespun casinos, and the Cirque, which is the most beautiful casino of all, the most modern casino of all. It's fantastic. Go check it out. And all I have to say is, if you get bored in life, get a dog. Go to the animal shelter and get a dog, whether it be a purebred or a Heinz 57, and get a dog. They're dying to meet you, and they want to meet you badly. They need a friend. They need somebody to take them out of their dilemma, out of the environment they're currently in, that they'll probably be killed in if they're not in a pro-life shelter. So please, go get a dog and adopt it from an animal shelter throughout America. They killed 67% of the dogs in Virginia, and in the animal shelter, they killed 67% of them because they don't have space for them, because they claim they're suffering on the pavement. Well, they are suffering on the pavement. Dog likes to lay in a nice, soft environment like the grass.
or hiking up a trail, or walking on the beach in the ocean, or whatever it may be. Dogs love softness in nature also. They don't like hard pavement. We don't like laying on hard pavement. We walk on hard pavement. But dogs like a nice, soft environment, and they need loving. That's all they need. They need a lot of loving, and they'll give you a lot of love back. God bless America. Until my next podcast, this is a Roadrunner straight out of Vegas, the Roadrunner podcast.